good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Action. Boy, we is back with another reaction video. Today's reaction, y'all, we're gonna be getting into the darkest Family Guy jokes that turned out to be true. I guess this is gonna be, there's gonna be some jokes in here that I've already peeped. If you look at my other videos of me reacting to Family Guys, like darkest jokes and their humor and stuff like that, I've seen that they be pointing out some stuff that can reflect on our actual reality to this day. But we're gonna go ahead and dive into this one. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Family Guy predicted Hollywood's most prolific predators, including this chilling joke about Brett Ratner. In their parody of the film Taken, Family Guy shows a version of the auction scene where Stewie infiltrates it and pretends to be one of the traffic girls. It all just seems pretty standard until you notice the throwaway line they drop in halfway through the skit.
I have 75,000. Thank you, Brett Ratner.
It's almost a connecting joke really, and not the full punchline. The episode aired in 2012, a long time before any of Ratner's shame became public. Name-dropping Brett Ratner had a lot of dangerous legal implications, of course, but they did it anyway. Eventually, Ratner was caught up in the Me Too allegations when a wave of assault allegations came out against him. The director of the Rush Hour films, among other Hollywood blockbusters, never truly recovered his reputation. And it got even worse later on when the Epstein files were released, and they showed that Ratner had a long and friendly relationship with Epstein. They were even pictured together. In this one, we can see them both with two popular. As like most of the Family Guy jokes, the jab of Ratner was so insane that it just seemed completely ridiculous. But if they actually released the real Epstein files and Ratner is proven to be a co-conspirator, it does make you wonder if their joke is just absurd or actually based in reality. But while Family Guy never really made jokes predicting Epstein's downfall before
I'm still on base.
there are some eerie jokes about his other possible associates. The most telling is their 2009 episode Halloween on Spooner Street, which shows Bill Clinton playing Spin the Bottle with a group of children.
What the fuck?
All right, let's go make some white water.
Oh,
the line of "let's go make some white water" refers to the name for Bill's numerous controversies and scandals during his time in office. Whether the writers had something more specific in mind or not, it fits the pattern perfectly. Another case where the joke aged in a direction nobody expected. However, a much more concrete link can be made to Bryan Singer. Hollywood has no shortage of creeps, and it's insane how many of them were exposed by Family Guy years before the full truth came out. In the episode Peanut Butter Kid from season 14, Stewie is selected as the new face of a peanut butter brand and finds fame as a child star. As Hollywood insiders, the Family Guy writers would have known how dangerous this is for young people, and they made sure to include a warning within the episode. Bryan often stands in as a kind of version of the writer's voice, as though Seth is talking through the show, although it's obviously still self-deprecating. But keeping this in mind, here he tells Stewie this: there are tons of actors like this. They started out like you, but eventually they were destroyed by their parents' greed, drugs, or perverted Hollywood directors. Stewie then responds, oh, like Bryan Singer? At the time, Singer was still a respected name. He had directed the X-Men films as well as a load of other blockbusters. The studios would protect him to an extent. It's such an on-the-nose pointed joke that could only be in there if there was some truth, or at least a commonly mentioned rumor to attribute to it. But at the time, people didn't care. Again, they only noticed it later on when the allegations were openly made. The Family Guy writers must have been so freaked out seeing that Singer could just openly exist in Hollywood, despite what they had known about him for years. It wasn't until 2017 that Singer was brought down by fresh lawsuits and news stories surrounding his alleged activities with underage boys. In season 19, which aired after the dust had settled, the Family Guy writers took another jab at both Singer and Hollywood's culture of silence.
Excuse me, how old are you?
Not of legal age anywhere in the world.
Have fun, tell whoever you want. Weirdly, no one cares about this.
And proof that the Family Guy writers really knew the dirty secrets going on behind
tell whoever you want.
Hollywood.
No one weirdly
Family
cares
Guy's
about
done
this.
over 500 episodes, and they've
Weirdly,
never
nobody
been shy
cares
about
about this.
exposing Hollywood's biggest celebrities.
Oh, look at Bill
including
Cosby.
even Matt Damon. In their 2018 episode HTTP Pete, Seth MacFarlane and the writers added a cutaway gag incorporating lots of Hollywood's most infamous predators. In a classic bit of shock humor, Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, and Woody Allen are shown as the Marvels the offenders. But then Family Guy goes somewhere that people weren't expecting, ending the gag with this line.
Is Matt Damon coming?
No, but he knows about all of us. He's very aware of what's going on here, you see.
Matt Damon has never been accused of misconduct, so what's the context here? Well, in the fallout of the Me Too movement
he still knows
and the
what's going on.
allegations about Weinstein, lots of people were wondering just how Hollywood could have kept such an open secret for so long. Many of Hollywood's stars took to the networks to clear their names, but often they just ended up creating more headlines. Matt Damon's interview from the time was just one example. Trying to distance himself from Weinstein and his crimes, he said this to ABC.
And I knew he was a womanizer, you know, I wouldn't want to be married to the guy, but like, I'm not, you know.
Matt Damon had already admitted to knowing something
George
was up, and now people were suspicious that he knew much more than he was letting on.
He does.
One comment from the Time reads, "The acting skills in this video is better than their whole careers is." Another states the obvious even more plainly. They knew, they all knew. Well, Seth MacFarlane and Family Guy weren't blind either, and they weren't afraid to call out Matt Damon. This isn't unearned at all either. Seth MacFarlane himself has never been afraid to call out abuses of power despite the risks to his career.
They all knew.
Find out they've
None of them
been
are innocent.
years or even decades
Well-
ahead, exposing celebrities in ways people only noticed after the truth came out. Family Guy has been calling out Hollywood's creepiest celebrities
He trying to
years before
get out of
anyone
the
ever
situation.
believed them. In 2013, in front of the entire world, Seth MacFarlane stood at the Oscars podium and made one joke that nobody understood at the time. It was played completely deadpan.
Let me see.
No smile, no
What was
wink.
it?
He just said it and moved on.
The 2012 nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role are Sally Field in Lincoln, Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables,
I like her.
Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook, Helen Hunt in The Sessions, and Amy Adams in The Master. Congratulations, you five ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
4 years later, when Harvey Weinstein was exposed as one of the most prolific predators in Hollywood history, people went back and found this clip.
What?
And they had one question. How did the creator of a seemingly stupid cartoon know what the A-list stars, the executives, and the journalists who covered Hollywood every day all claimed they had absolutely no idea about?
Lying.
You see,
Y'all
Seth
lying.
never made that Weinstein
That's
joke
what cap.
by accident. When the
Y'all all
allegations
be
broke,
talking.
he explained in a now-deleted tweet, "In 2013, my friend and colleague Jessica Barth, with whom I worked on the TED films, confided in me regarding her encounter with Harvey Weinstein and his attempted advances. It was with this account in mind that when I hosted the Oscars in 2013, I couldn't resist the opportunity to take a hard swing in his direction. Make no mistake, this came from a place of loathing and anger." When that seemingly wasn't good enough for the media, Jessica Barth came out in Seth's defense, saying that he respected her wishes. It shows that while Seth might make crude jokes, when things get real, he has a good heart. But while the rest of Hollywood was trying to wash their hands and distance themselves from the cover-up, Seth never had to. His hands were already clean.
Yeah.
And it makes it that much more compelling when Family Guy exposes predatory celebrities, especially when the truth comes out about them
Look at-
years later. For example,
Look at
Family
Bill
Guy
Cosby.
knew the real truth about Ellen years before anyone else.
Oh my God,
As we
look at
can
Ellen.
see from this episode in season
Ellen
9,
DeGeneres.
which aired back in late 2010.
She's literally a
So you want to hear
degenerate.
about my movie?
I had a
It's been
great weekend
3
this
months
weekend.
shooting in
I danced
Louisiana.
all over
And, you know,
my
it's a
house.
thriller,
I
but
try to
it's
dance
really
in
a
every
love
room at
story,
least once a
too.
week. I also listen to jazz while I vacuum, which is cool.
Despite her reputation at the time for being the kindest person on TV, she was not safe from Family Guy, as they clearly saw there was a monster beneath this nice facade. An opinion that would later be proved correct years later when allegations surfaced about her true conduct. When her show's staff described her as acting superior, not even looking people in the eye below her, and often abusing them for perceived mistakes. Today we all know Ellen as a monster. We even made an entire video about this a year ago. And Family Guy made sure to capitalize on this later on, getting at least a little bit of payback for all the people she mistreated.
So please,
Hey.
give today. Because no one should have to spend Thanksgiving watching a millionaire try on sweaters.
They even made their own parody of her to drill it in. Lots of people could have made
Disingenuous.
jokes like this after
Ellen
the fact, but it was
disingenuous.
only Family Guy that made them years before as well, to such a wide audience with such strong conviction. This Helen disingenuous bit is almost hidden in the background compared to other Family Guy jokes. It's really a hilarious summation of everything that was wrong with Ellen, from her falseness to the way she used charity and social issues to boost her own fame. Maybe this one time is just a coincidence. After all, Family Guy makes dozens of jokes every episode, and they've released hundreds of episodes. Even a stop clock is right twice a day. But as you look deeper, too many examples come up to believe this is all just a coincidence. Like this joke they made about Kevin Spacey.
$10, $5, $8 and I'll do it. Fine. Help! I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement! basement! Help me!
This came from one of the earliest seasons of the show, and it aired in 2005, over a decade before the allegations about Spacey's
Who? Kevin
misconduct
Spacey's
emerged. They could have
British-
used anyone for the joke, real or fictional. Of course, they could have easily just used Herbert, which, while fitting, might have taken a bit of the sting out of the joke.
I
So
hate
instead,
that character.
They didn't.
Oh my God,
and
he's
it's why
annoying,
when
bro.
Seth was asked about the joke years later, he said
That
he didn't
character's voice is
remember
annoying
who
as
pitched the
hell.
joke, and that other writers in the room explained the rumors to him. A producer for the show confirmed this, saying that a story involving Spacey and a visit to a London park late at night had prompted the idea. It seemed like too telling of a detail to be easily explained away. And while Spacey was never actually found guilty in a criminal trial, he has made settlements in civil litigation against him, and his name and reputation will never truly recover. And even just the creepy YouTube
He
videos
looks so
he
familiar. What
released
movies did he
during the
play on?
trials really made people wonder what was
he
going
an
on
actor?
behind that guy's mind.
But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you?
This is probably how lots of Family Guys.
I don't know. All y'all
kind
kinda- I sus all y'all,
Off
bro.
of rumors, bits of information
nah.
available to them as Hollywood insiders. And while they were probably never close enough to get the full story, they could still poke fun at the bits that did leak out. As you can't do things
Yeah.
like this lightly. Even when the laws are clear, proving your innocence can still cost tons of money. But because the rumor was out there and known, it wasn't seen as a legal risk, and Spacey, of course, never challenged it.
Yeah.
The Family Guy's co-showrunner actually explained this in more detail. The episodes are vetted by the legal standards department, and either there has to be some basis for a joke, or it has to be so insane and unbelievable that no one would take it seriously. And honestly, in some of these instances, both were true. But people often criticize the show just for being crude, popcorn TV that always takes the low-hanging fruit and never does anything to challenge the audience.
Yeah.
It just seemingly relies on gross out and shock humor. But the flip side of this is also the reason it's so popular and that it's thrived online today. Family Guy's jokes usually stand up by themselves, and it makes them perfect for the online world and short-form content. And despite how lazy people say the structuring is and how bad the show's gotten in recent years, it's really hard to think of any other show that can do the same thing they can. It's
True.
because Family Guy's
Other than
jokes often
Simpsons.
just seem simple, but they're also authentic. They just point towards the elephant in the room, the thing that nobody
Yeah.
wants to acknowledge, but that everyone already knows about. The show's sarcastic, cutting, and mean-spirited jokes are often things we've all thought to ourselves. And it's this willingness to call them out and make fun of the absurdity and crude parts of life that gave Family Guy its popularity in the first place. And it's why Family Guy has the confidence to call out all of these creepy celebrities, whether or not it was socially acceptable to do at the time. You know, today, people lament modern Family Guy's excessive padding, its strange character choices, and the feeling that the soul left the show, as Seth himself stopped putting loads of time into it years ago, focusing nearly all of his energy on other projects instead. But just like modern Simpsons, Family Guy does occasionally have a few good episodes, and often some really good jokes inside of it. When it goes back to its roots and confronts modern reality, that's when people gain enjoyment from it. And this season 23 joke about AI went viral for this exact reason. It's like a last grasp. The clip still has the new Disney Family Guy's weird animation, which ironically looks like it was upscaled by AI. Peter also sounds sort of strange, but the meta joke it makes about AI was enough to carry it to millions of views. But the tragic
Written by
truth is
AI?
we
Oh,
may never
man,
get
what
more
the
real
fuck?
warnings from Family Guy anymore. When Disney bought Fox in 2019, they also got control over Family Guy, and their tenure has seen some of the show's worst ratings yet. Just like how Disney
Damn.
bought Marvel, Star Wars, then
Oh,
now Disney
yeah.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
And the show had exposed predators and all these creepy celebrities for decades without running into any real legal trouble. But once Disney got a hold of it, the legal issue suddenly became an excuse to censor these
Yup.
kinds of jokes. Rich Chappelle, that showrunner we mentioned before, has publicly acknowledged this despite the backlash he must have gotten from his comments. In 2022, he said that Disney owns so many properties that I will find myself making legal arguments that I know are winners about parody, and why we can get away with certain things. And then the question becomes, well, that may be, Rich, but Marvel doesn't want to see his characters portrayed in this light. So suddenly, he's got to worry about stepping on toes and keeping Disney's armies of lawyers extra happy. Along with the simple effects of time, is something that killed the show. But they have subtly pushed it in exactly the wrong direction for Family Guy to be relevant again, completely watering down down the truth that was once hidden within these episodes. But let's just think about what all of this means for a second. Spacey, Weinstein, Singer, Ratner, all of these creepy celebrities that were allowed to just have free reign creating our culture and shaping our country's narratives, the people who were protected by journalists, studios, agents, all the A-list actors turning a blind eye. None of these people ever said a word. The only people who told the truth were cartoon writers. And the only reason they could tell it was because they buried it inside of a joke.
Yeah.
Because in Hollywood, the one thing more protected than a predator is a punchline. And this is why Disney's just killing the show, as the lawyers are too worried about jokes
Disney
that tell
is
the
evil.
truth. But eventually a show will come along that can actually speak to power once again and expose these predators for what they really are.
That's crazy. I can totally agree with this. Like, ever since Disney started buying like Marvel and Star Wars and all that, bro, shit went downhill, bro. Well, not from Marvel because, well, Star Wars for sure, but for Marvel, yeah, it did go downhill. It did go downhill. But I mean, phase one was good. But I could see that. Ever since Disney bought Fox, Family Guy probably got watered down. They probably didn't want to, step on any toes and stuff. I totally agree with that. And bro, I don't give a fuck what that man said. He knew everything, bro. He knew everything. You're not gonna just because if these are true, somebody must have heard about this. Somebody must have heard about this from behind the scenes, and it was one of the writers. They all got connections. Everybody knows everybody, So it's just like, bro, y'all didn't just come out. This didn't just come out of thin air. Rumors never come out of. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. But nah, this. I was gonna say rumors don't come out of thin air, but sometimes they do. But this, I'm not gonna put this on the show unless it's like, I feel like the writers are definitely covering it up by putting it as a joke. But yeah, I don't trust none of you niggas, bro. All of y'all rich writers and shit like that. I don't trust none of y'all. I know y'all be at the islands and shit like that. I don't know, bro. That's just kind of crazy. I don't want no smoke. I want no parts of it. I don't want no smoke with this. But shit, this is how our world is, bro. That's just crazy. But that's it for this video, everybody, man. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below if you got any recommendations of any videos you want to see me react to. And that is it till next one, y'all. Peace.